Welcome back, folks, to another edition of SHU Outdoors. And today we're going to do a deep dive on a law that the state of Florida is attempting to pass that I think probably will be passed, that basically could just classify anyone as a criminal gang member with extremely vague indicators that the police could just, well, you did this or that, you're probably in a gang, go and arrest him. Let's dig into it. A creator he does mostly biker related content. It's Insane Throttle, and he's really doing an excellent episode of the matter. And I want to add value to his content, not to attempt to bite it or retract from it. So let's go ahead on and get into it. And
you better get it together, man, especially down in Florida. They have declared war down there, and I'm afraid this might be going nationwide, man. So if you wear a patch, pay attention. It seems like Florida, and we're going to be talking about the implications of this throughout this video. If you're a serious person, you'll listen up, man. Because when I saw this proposal by the Florida General Assembly, I was like, you are kidding me, right? This is, I don't know if it was, how can I say it, directed at MCs, but it sure to hell is going to have a lot of ramifications for MCs. Now, what am I talking?
It absolutely will, and not just MCs. Anybody that they feel like applying it to, just wait till he breaks the law down itself. Yeah, it's a bad law. And Florida, unfortunately, is infamous for passing bad laws. Interesting side note, routinely, Florida has the most people exonerated from death row who have been convicted and sent to death row. They have one of the highest overturn rates in the entire country. So this gives you an idea of what kind of justice system you're dealing with down here. You know, the good old boy justice system.
About. They are trying to pass a bill right now. It is HB 429, and it goes overboard here about a definition of criminal gang membership. Now, all the bigger clubs, the DOJ classifies them as gangs. So, going through just some of the new points they're trying to implement in there, it is crazy, man. And I think also this could affect people that say support this club or that club on social media. Yes, they're going into social media now too. This has to be one of the biggest overreaches that I have seen. I thought Texas was bad. No, Florida's taking the cake, man. Let's take just some bullet points. I went through Grok. I uploaded the bill, and I said, pull out some bullet points for me, and let's go over it, and you'll be freaked out just like I am. Okay, this is a summary.
For all the men and women that are locked down in cold, dark, lonely places, who are being tortured, who are being hurt, who are being victimized by the system. I'm not saying that perhaps they didn't deserve to go to prison for what they did, but they're still human beings.
Of HB 429. And this is in the Florida House right now. It's going up the judiciary and all that stuff, that committee. And you better get out there, start calling reps. You better get out there and get involved with organizations like ABATE and stuff, because this is pretty bad here. Now, there's key changes.
Good stuff. That's enough of that.
For the new term of gang-related language in this bill. A criminal gang member, a person is defined as a criminal gang member if they meet two or more of the following criteria. And this is important for clubs, man. Get your people off the freaking internet with their patches. It goes through A, B, C, and all that kind of stuff. Admits in person or an online platform, social media, to being a gang member. New emphasis on digital admissions. Meaning they're going to look, these cops don't even have to do anything anymore. They just go to social media and boom. Oh, there's somebody in colors right there. He's a gang member. Let's put him down. Yes,
yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
Emphasis
there is
on
good news,
digital
though.
admissions. That's some scary stuff right there, man.
I want to let him speak
Identified
first.
or claimed by a gang as a member. And I guess it revived from previous admission criteria. Identified as a gang member by a parent, guardian, or spouse.
What?
Living with them. You can see how
now,
that can go
vague,
if you
right?
get an old lady that's a little upset with you. This one, it scares the heck out of me, besides the social media one. Identified by a documented, reliable informant. Well, one, informants ain't
Rats say
reliable because
anything
they're
to get out
trying
of
to work
trouble.
off a freaking case of their own. So how can you put reliable in the same sentence?
You cannot.
And these people are notorious for trying to hem up members of clubs.
And other organizations also.
They might not even have been thinking about doing anything illegal. Then all of a sudden, boom, one of these freaking informants tried to get them going, or one of these undercover cops. Here's the other one. And you know what? We're only in the E, and they already got club guys. Adopts the style of dress of a criminal gang.
Hold up. I got to interject something here. He's doing a great job. But I just think it's important. About 10 years ago, in a case called Johnson versus United States, I'm a really good legal beagle. The federal government was using a definition of armed career criminal. And if you met that statute, let's say you had a gun, and it went so far as constructive possession. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say I work for you. You own a legal firearm, okay? It's in your glove compartment, or it's on, it's anything other than being on your person. So it's in your glove compartment in your truck, okay? Registered, you own it legally, you've never been convicted of any crimes. And let's say I work for you. Okay, you say, hey, Mick, get in the truck with me and let's go over to this other workplace. I happen to be a convicted felon. I'm not allowed to own or possess any firearm under federal and state law. Now, in the state, they have to show intent. But see how, I'm going to show you something about the feds, what they were doing. Now, let's say we got pulled over en route from job site A to job site B. I didn't know the firearm was in there. I had no knowledge of it. You, as the employer, you take the stand and even testify. Yeah, he's just my employee. I was giving him a ride from point A to point B. I had the gun in there. It was in my glove compartment. Legally possessed, owned. He didn't even know it was in there. Federal law was so invasive. They say it didn't matter. I could have had access to it. You getting on the stand and saying, look, the guy didn't know the firearm was in there. It was legally owned and possessed. He was in my vehicle. He's my employee. Going from work site A to work site B. The police pulled us over, asked me, did I have any firearms? Well, of course, I told the police the truth, provided my license and registration. I'm talking about you and this scenario. This guy was a passenger, so they asked me for, my ID or whatever. They run my name. Well, the local police don't do anything because it's not a crime for me just to be in a vehicle with a firearm that's owned legally and possessed legally by the individual who's driving and operating a motor vehicle. I never had possession of it. He even admits that he's never been convicted. This and that you have never been convicted of a crime. Okay, so it wouldn't stand up in state court, but the feds could say constructive possession just because I was in that vehicle with that firearm, whether if I knew about it or not, I could have had access to it. If I have 2 prior qualifying crimes from 20 years ago, okay, a drug crime or a small amount of drugs. You didn't need to be no kingpin drug dealer. A small amount of drugs that qualify as a felony. So an 8-ball of cocaine. I know a lot of you folks out there in the listening audience who did cocaine, just never got busted for it. Good for you. Big pat on the back. But you know, you probably could have been busted for it and you would have had a felony and you wouldn't be able to own that firearm you probably own legally. But that's another story. And something very similar to it. So 2 of those when you were, 20 years old and now you're 45 or 50, did your time, totally rebuilt your whole life. You're not a criminal no more. You're a family man, law-abiding citizen. You got your IDs, you got vehicles and stuff too. I'm just with you. You happen to be my boss in this scenario. We're going from point A to point B. Cop pulls us over something totally innocent, no criminal activities afoot. The federal government would come in and they say, well, we consider all this violence. And they were elevating everybody's guidelines 15, 20 years. That Johnson versus United States said you cannot have vague laws like this. You can pass a law as the state legislators. Absolutely you can. But you can't make it so vague that there is a misunderstanding of what it means to any given person who reads it. This law may be passed into law, but in truth, it's nothing to really panic over. Now, they did pass laws like this in Australia and Europe. The difference between United States of America and Australia and Europe, they don't have our Constitution. So there's case law on the books that will automatically render this law so vague it cannot be interpreted by a reasonable person, the person who's attempting to abide by it and or the person who's attempting to enforce it. So this will be challenged on constitutional grounds, and it will either be struck down or have to be rewrote to make it very, very, very narrow. That's way too broad, overreaching. It'll never stand in court. They may pass it, DeSantis may sign it, but at the end of the day, it won't make the cut. It won't stand.
You know what? I truly believe that was intended for clubs. Because you're identified by your patches and stuff. You put that in with your social media posts, boom, there's 2 already. You're identified as having criminal gang membership. Then using a hand side identified, that's mostly street stuff.
What's this? Peace. A-OK. That's a blood sign. I can say, A-OK, so Mom. Next thing you know, I'm a gang member? That's ridiculous. It'll never stand.
Or anybody that the DOJ considers a motorcycle.
Just because the DOJ considers you in a criminal motorcycle club, that doesn't mean they have any evidence to suggest that you actually commit any criminal activity while you were riding with that club. In America, the United States, you need more than, well, he might be up to something. Okay? That might be enough to get you arrested, but it won't be enough to get you convicted. That law is going to be challenged. It will never stand up. Oh, it'll stand up in the local court in Florida. No doubt about that, because there's a pretty bad judicial system in Florida. And there's a lot of police abuse. I just call it like I see it. I'm not saying every cop is out to do evil deeds. But I tell you what, as a police officer, I guarantee you, if you're a police officer, you have seen your fellow police officers do things to citizens that you would arrest anyone else if they did. But because it's your fellow officer, you turn a blind eye to it, not like it didn't happen.
And now you're fitting 3 criteria of this. Associates with one or it's like they took this from the bikie laws over in Australia.
But this ain't Australia. We got a constitution.
Associates with one or more known gang members. So now, say if you have one of your blood brother siblings that you grew up with, he's in a club and designated as a gang member, Now you are an associate. You're a gang member. That's where the support clubs, you better listen up. Identified by a foreman of untested reliability, corroborated by an independent.
So it's a snitch, snitching on a snitch who says, yep, he's a gang member.
By independent
that won't
info.
stand. Way too vague.
Identified by physical evidence, there's your patches. And
again, I'm not saying they can't pass a law of some type, but they can't make it so broad and so vague that law enforcement could potentially put a case on an old lady because she said, hey, okay, guys. That could be considered a blood sign. Or peace. And then her granddaughter happens to be in a gang. The old lady ain't no gang. She don't even know, not interested. So the granddaughter, the great-granddaughter comes over to the granny's house. Okay, you guys have a great time. Okay, grab. Hey, okay, take care. What, is she a gang member now? This law is so vague and so broad, it will never stand. Now, I don't doubt they'll try to pass it. Look, here's the deal. I'm going to come forward with you. I'm not a conservative or a liberal or a Democrat or a Republican. I've always been a free thinker. I think independently. And I can pretty much say with confidence right now, I can never see me voting for any of these uptight, Bible-thumping, perverted Republicans, okay? The Epstein class, I call them, who Bible thump for everybody else, but it's okay for them to be creeps and to down low and do much worse than what they're trying to send us to jail for. The heck with them. I'm a free thinker. On this channel, this is about free thinking. All right? And anyone and everyone who watches this channel is more than welcome to think freely. Amen. Hallelujah.
And more. Observed in the company of known gang members 2 or more times. Reduced from 4
too vague,
in custodial settings requires willful association. Authors any communication indicating gang affiliation, activity, or responsibility. You think?
And they put any one of these 2 very vague definitions you fit into, and the police can just come and arrest you and take you to jail. That will not stand, okay? It will not stand. It will be challenged in the federal courts. It'll be struck down. Now, they already have a law on the books. It's called RICO. Okay, if you're a member of what the federal government considers a criminal organization, and they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you as an individual participated in criminal activity associated with that organization, they can put a case on you and send you to jail. They already have a law on the books to deal with criminal organizations and people who commit crimes who happen to also belong to a criminal organization. Okay, I'd love to be the spokesman for bikers, okay? But I just do a prison-related content, but I ride, homie. I rode in New York City for years, rice burners, but I could ride, bro. Okay, believe that, homie. And now I ride a big badass cruiser down here in Florida chilling, all right? I love you guys. I'm not a 1%er, quote unquote, but I've been an outlaw my whole life since I was a little kid, and I've lived an outlaw lifestyle my whole life up until the last 5 years since I've been free. I rehabilitated myself in prison. I rehabilitated myself. System tried to break me and grind me into the concrete, but they didn't get the job done. Okay, I live to fight another day. I am fighting, and this is the way I'm doing it, bringing you this raw and real footage and delivering commentary on this gentleman. Does an excellent show. Highly recommend it. I watch it, and that's the reason why I'm doing this content.
You want to keep posting that? You might not be in Florida right now, but I guarantee this is going to go to nationwide. Uses gang-related language and furtherance of gang activity on online platforms.
I recommend you go to Insane Throttle and check this episode out. Look, I got to wrap it up, man. I try to keep these, these episodes 15, 22 minutes somewhere there. Sometimes I run long. I get to going in. But hey, look, man. Man, it is what it is, man. But look, I really would appreciate it if you like the content. Please think about subscribing, maybe giving it a thumbs up. If you can't do it on this video, maybe the next one. You know, it's hard work to bring a channel like this to you, man. If you want to do a decent episode, I don't mind doing it. I do it in my free time. I just enjoy doing it, you know. But, you know, I'm into a lot of things: backpacking, hiking, camping, urban survival, bugging out, prepping. The list goes on and on and on. But this is the kind of content that I do. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, stay up. Peace.